And 888-957-9570. Some of the things they said, I don't know if we get right into it, because I do want to talk about the Western Conference Finals a little bit. But something we've been saying all along came to fruition yesterday.
What's that?
Draymond Green and Steve Kerr admitting that the incident in the preseason wrecked the season.
So let me ask you a question about that. Is it just simply the season's over and now they can admit this stuff?
I guess so.
Well, like, what's changed in 72 hours?
I don't know.
Because I have a theory, and again, you can laugh at it all you want.
Is it a narrative or is it a blame game?
I just have a theory in life, okay? This is my life theory. Just hear me out. My life theory, I don't believe anything anyone says. Politician, government official, corporate head, NBA coach, MLB player, NFL commissioner. I believe zero of what anyone says at a podium because I feel like it's all just gobbledygook.
Even Steve Kerr? Because I feel like Steve Kerr is very earnest.
Candid? Bonte, are there guys that are candid?
Right.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, in general, things that you say at a podium, I don't take at face value.
I don't, but I take Steve Kerr what he says at face value.
For you, then, it's the individual.
Steve Kerr has been nothing but truthful throughout his entire tenure with the Golden State Warriors. Bob Myers, truthful.
He seems, actually, you know what? Bob Myers, and I will give John Lynch almost a little too truthful.
Right.
But do you get my general sense? When people are at a podium, they tend to lie.
I take that yes, I agree with that.
Outside of a handful of people.
But here in the Bay Area, what we would deal with on a daily basis, the exceptions are Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, John Lynch.
That I will subscribe to.
So, continue.
Oh, no, but I guess where I'm going is like, I all year I heard everybody come up with things on what's going on in terms of like the microphones in their face. And what are they going to say? They're in the middle of the season. I don't even expect them to be like, yeah, that punch that we had 2 months ago, it's really ruining the team chemistry. And I'm sure that once you end the year, now you feel like you can air certain dirty laundry because you're not in the grind or whatever. Right. But I find it very interesting. And forget Steve Kerr for a second. I find it very interesting that it feels like to me, and this is just my interpretation from his podcast, from his exit interviews, from him jumping on with Stephen A. Smith, and we're going to play some of that sound a little later. It does feel like to me, Draymond Green is on a reconciliation tour. And to some degree, whether you believe this or not, I get the sense, and this is my interpretation, I get the sense he looked around and was like, yeah, I think my best option is to stay here.
Wow.
I think that he thought his market would be a little more robust. And maybe he is being finally sincere and looking in the mirror. And I hope he is. I really do. I find it unlikely because whenever someone is looking to get a contract extension, they're going to do and say things to get that, which I don't blame them. I do things that I don't normally do. We all do this. Hey, your contract's coming up. Hey, you're getting ready for a promotion. You show up earlier. You work harder. You treat people better. You raise your hand in group meetings. You know what I'm saying? And I get the feeling right now Dre's trying to, put out this image, and I don't blame him for this, but it feels like he's on a reconciliation tour.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. So you talk about the podium. I'm going to start there. Again, I'm with you with the podium. A lot of coaches, a lot of players, they just say the cliches.
For the most part, like Gabe
Kapler. PR
department
just say, hey, this is how you answer this question. You get trained. You get trained on how to answer certain questions.
Exactly.
I remember Eric Gordon. He used to make me laugh in the locker room when he was with the Houston Rockets.
Why?
Because every question you ask him, and he's just like, we just got to play Houston Rockets basketball. Well, what is Houston Rockets basketball? Oh, well, physicality. Getting I was like, well, that's everybody.
Yes.
So
we got to look at the tape, Mike Singletary.
We got to look at the tape.
Remember that?
A lot of people say that. Well, I got to go back and look at the tape. I didn't see it out there live. Wait, how did you see it? But Steve Kerr, John Lynch, Bob Myers.
So true.
And even Draymond Green, we say too truthful, right? So now they're coming out and saying, we believe that there's a cloud hovering over our team. And it was obvious. You won 11 road games.
Well, you look disjointed. All year. It just looked it.
You were not connected.
Yes.
But Draymond Green said this, that the Warriors would still be playing if this didn't happen. Let's hear from Draymond Green in Stephen A's world on the I guess they broadcast. It's like the mega cast, right?
Yeah.
In national football or college
I kinda
football.
liked it.
I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I was listening to Mike
flipped
Breen.
back and forth.
Yeah, I want to hear Mike Breen, and I want to hear Mark Jackson and Jeff Van
Mark
Gundy.
Jackson.
I can't do Stephen A. Smith during a basketball game, but I didn't know Draymond Green was going to be on there. So here's Draymond Green in Stephen A.'s world on why the Warriors would still be playing.
We're not playing right now because when you speak about the fouling, when you speak about all of the slippage that we had as a team on the road, not being able to come together, none of those things happen if that doesn't happen, because the voice that I am and the departments that I lead this team in, there was a ton of slippage due to me sitting back, me not saying anything, me trying to allow that situation to play itself out and giving it time to heal. Well, while you're giving it all of that time, guess what? I would say probably by February, I started to feel like myself again and speak more. But guess what? There was 5 months of a season where slippage has just been occurring. And by February, if that slippage has been going on that long, you are who you are. At that point, you've built those habits. You've built bad habits. That is who you are now. So to try to correct them then, it's like, okay, you may get a little better. We did. We ended up in the second round of the playoffs, but not at a championship level.
So a couple things. One, with Shams Charania just a couple weeks ago after they beat the Sacramento Kings in Game 4, it was reported that he got his voice back in January. Now he said it's February. All right? So whatever. I'm not going to nitpick on that one. February, January, whatever. The fact is it took a while to get his voice back, and he really couldn't get his voice back. So then it sounds like that maybe he did try to reconcile with Jordan Poole. However, it sounds like Jordan Poole may not been interested. And it was just like, look, this is a business. Let's go through the year, and then we'll reevaluate the situation after the season. However, to admit there that, hey, we would have beat the Lakers had I not done X, Y, and Z. Well, my simple question to Dub Nation is, how does that make you feel? That the season was hijacked, basically, off an incident in the preseason, and now you're admitting and taking accountability that, hey, what I did cost us possibly another championship, because that's what this is all about. If you're Joe Lacob and you're the owner, you're saying this caused the Western. I lost out on money because of a punch in the preseason. We weren't able to get over this over the course of 7 months, and it's still an issue. I don't know if I feel good as an owner. I don't know if I feel good as a fan.
In just Warrior history, there are certain moments that happened that did derail certain teams. For example, Monte Ellis getting hurt on the scooter, the moped, whatever that was. It derailed that season. Was that team a championship team?
No, not even
close. But Bonte, that was bad. Remember that? That sabotaged that season.
Yep.
Latrell Sprewell doing what he did.
Yeah, that was done.
That sabotaged that entire season, and he was done, okay? Like, there are certain things that can have Baron Davis doing the party for his birthday late in the year when they won 48 games, and they didn't qualify for the playoffs the year after, we believe. Felt like it sealed his fate with the Warriors and kind of doomed them because he got benched by Nelly for that year. Like, there are things that happen, okay? Madison Bumgarner riding on an ATV. He sabotaged Giant season that year. Everybody was afraid to say it because he was a legend. But in retrospect, Bonte, think about it. He was a legend. He ruined that year.
No doubt.
Right?
He did.
He ruined that year.
The season was done after that.
It's okay. Draymond did ruin the year. Now, I will give him this. Coming back around and having some level of accountability shows tremendous growth. But my biggest issue isn't even about accountability, because I know he's going to be a habitual line stepper because that's who he is. That's baked into what he does. I get it. My biggest issue is that you're bad for 2 games, and then you tell us in a podcast you're going to be better, and then the next game you're awesome, and the team takes off, and then you're back to being bad again for 2 games. And I'm talking about offensively. That's my bigger issue is you're in your own dome offensively, and you don't know whether you're coming or going. Forget all the side antics, which I know drive a lot of people nuts. I just don't think you're good enough offensively anymore for what this team needs to do as it evolves forward. I don't know. I'm all over the place this morning, B.
But he said a lot there, and there's a lot of stuff here. And I don't
even know. Like, even if they were Bonte, this is the other thing. Saying that the punch is why they're not in the Western Conference Finals, to me, lets the roster construction off the hook, lets the empowerment of the young players off the hook, lets some of the bad tendencies, whether it's Jordan Poole, whether it's Klay Thompson, whether it's Steph Curry and some of the turnovers, some of their bad tendencies. I don't think they were good enough. And I also think the punch did a lot psychologically.
See, I think when you don't have a punch, and this is where locker room dynamics, and this is where team basketball and camaraderie matters. Momentum matters, right? All that stuff matters with the basketball team. When you get a unit that has to travel together for 41 games a season, you don't get that built-in chemistry. Now it sounds like, on the road, I wasn't on road trips, but it sounds like there weren't that many team dinners together. There weren't that many guys hanging out together on the road where you build that camaraderie. You look at the Sacramento Kings for a perfect example. I know they were the 3 seed. They lost in the first round, I get it. But you look at that team, they were together, right? You look at the LA Lakers right now, they look connected. The Denver Nuggets, they look connected. When you don't have an incident like that, those built-in bad habits, all of a sudden you can overcome for some of that. Guys are playing a little harder on defense.
Well, the Nuggets,
guys are playing for each other in the game, on the road. They're having that chemistry saying, you know what? I'm not going to chuck shots. I'm going to play team basketball. I'm going to trust that other player. The trust is not just between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. It's between Draymond Green and the rest of the team. It's between Jordan Poole and the rest of the team. Yeah. Instead of saying, you know what? I just want to go out there and get mine. I'm going to help this team get back to the promised land. You can overcome some of those flaws. And look, this team made the second round and pushed the Lakers to 6 games, despite not having that chemistry, despite not having the good habits that help you win grimy playoff games, which is not turning the ball over, making the extra pass, taking good shots, rotating well on defense. You can overcome that stuff if you have team camaraderie, if you have cohesion there. And I do think if you had that joy that you had last year, because they were small last year. They were small. They didn't have front court help.
Yeah.
It was Looney and Draymond and Otto Porter Jr.
But do you find, not that it's an excuse, but it seems like an easy pivot. I still believe there were some roster issues. Could they have overcome them? Absolutely. B, your point about camaraderie, and yes, you can overcome them.
If you have camaraderie, maybe Steve Kerr's like, you know what? I'm going to give JaMychal Green more of a leash here. All of a sudden, JaMychal Green is hitting 3 threes a game. Maybe he is your Otto Porter Jr. But with all that cohesion, with all the roster changes, lineup changes, injuries.
The divide between the vets and the young guys.
All that stuff.
It felt real.
JaMychal Green stopped playing. He wasn't even playing there.
I know.
Maybe JaMychal Green is last year's Otto Porter Jr. or Bielitsa or whatnot. Instead, it's like, well, we're not going to give him more of a rope because we're losing games early in the season. Those games flip. If you're 7-3 instead of 3-7, maybe some of the youngsters are getting more of a chance early in the season. Maybe they are building their confidence early in the season.
Hypothetically, let's say they have a better record during the regular season. Do you think the playoffs plays out different?
Absolutely.
You do?
I do. Because they're going into the playoffs feeling a lot better about themselves.
Okay.
Maybe, just maybe if the vibe is right, Andrew Wiggins comes back sooner. Who knows? Who the heck knows? All these question marks are in my head now. All these question marks are in my head now about the Golden State Warriors.
I do believe like in algebra, you have the X factor, right? Or whatever, whatever the alphabet number that
A plus B plus C, B, whatever.
The one that we won't know, the unknown variable, is the Wiggins thing. Like that to me is a variable that is very difficult to quantify. And so, but all the other stuff I'm here for. It's like, I do believe in part the youngsters, trust with the youngsters, time with the youngsters, allowing them to playing through mistakes, the delicacy with how the veterans handle the youngsters. I think that's all a microcosm of the punch.
So it's a great one here. It's not that I feel validated or you feel validated about what Kerr and Draymond said, but to hear them admit that this issue lingered all season long. Like you think about Sacramento. Somebody just made a great point. They win in 6 against Sac if they had camaraderie. Hell, they may win that series at 5 if they have camaraderie.
Well, I don't think they lose the first 2 games.
Exactly. And they win the rest of the games in Chase, and they're feeling good about themselves.
That felt like the beginning of the season again.
This did not look like a defending champion.
No.
Like, championship pedigree didn't feel like they had that this year.
No.
All because of the trust and the cohesion and everything.